But the people that took you off of slave ship, took your ancestors, taught them Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, taught us to celebrate birthdays, taught us to celebrate all this other stuff, and God is against it. Why'd they do that? To keep you in the condition that you in. They know as long as we in sin, God won't be on our side. But when we start breaking that sin pattern and start doing what he said do, then he'll be our God again, our people again. He gonna fight for us. That's the issue. We gotta learn what this say. So look, I'm gonna answer the question he just asked you. All right, this is why we out here. And hold on, bro. Y'all hold on. All right, read what you got. Romans 10:1. This is why we out here. Read.
The book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
So it says our heart's desire and our prayer for our people, for Israel. That's who you all are. We are the children of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. That's the nationality that was taken from us. That's the heritage that was taken from us. That's where, when they put us on slave ships and brought our ancestors here, that's who we were before they put us on the boat. But we don't know that now because do you think our enemies would teach us that? Do y'all think the people that put us on slave ships would teach us who we are, what we are to God, how important we are on the earth, and why, and what we do to get out of the conditions that we in? They wouldn't. Your captors ain't gonna teach you how to be free. But read it again. It said our heart's desire and prayer for Israel, for y'all, is what?
Is that they might be saved.
That we might be saved. Read on.
For I bear them record.
So look, we bear y'all record, meaning we have the understanding when we look at our people that this right here is going on.
For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God.
All of our people, if I was to ask you, bro, you love God? He gonna say, yeah. What about you, brother? You love God? How about you, brother? Sister, you love God? Everybody say yeah. So read it again.
For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God.
So y'all have the zeal, y'all have the want and desire of God, to love God, but
not according to knowledge.
But it's not according to the knowledge of God. So look, sis, if you got a woman, right? You with a woman and she say she love you, but she don't listen to nothing you say. She don't do nothing you ask her to do. When you be like, look, this is what I like, she do the opposite. She can't love you like that. Is that correct? So God the same way. You can't love God the way you feel like it. A person, it's gonna let you know how to love me. You see what I'm saying? So we got a zeal, our people got a zeal of God, but since we've been here in the land of our captivity, it's been not according to the knowledge of God. So now, read on.
Verse 3, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness.
We are ignorant of God's righteousness. God said, I love you if you righteous. But we don't know what righteousness is. What's righteousness? What's your name, bro, first of all? Terrence from Moses. My brother right here, what's your name? I'm trying to get everybody now. I might forget it as we go on, but look, help me out.
I'm Jay.
Huh? Jay?
I gotta go to work.
Okay. All right. But y'all stick around. You gotta go, bro. I wish you could stay long, but stay right here, fool. So he said, Terrence, we got a zeal of God, but it's not according to the knowledge of God, right? He said, I bear them record of that. Read on what you just read again.
For they being ignorant of God's righteousness.
So our people are ignorant of God's righteousness. What have we done?
And going about to establish their own righteousness.
That's what our people end up doing, trying to establish our own righteousness. Read.
Have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God.
But we ain't submitted ourselves to what God's righteousness is. So I'm gonna ask you a question, bro. I'm gonna ask you a question because you kind of standing out, but I want to talk to you. What would you say God's righteousness is? Because God said, I bear them record that they got a zeal of God. It ain't according to knowledge, and our people are ignorant of God's righteousness. So what do you think God's righteousness is? What is righteousness?
To respect one another.
To respect one another. That's a righteous thing. I can say that, but is that God's righteousness? I would say God would probably be cool with that, but I'm saying, do we know if that's in the Bible? What about you, Sis? What's what's righteousness according to God?
Everything he say, like everything he's saying in the Bible, like you're supposed to be following.
Hold on, say it again.
Everything he's saying is supposed to be following.
I'm putting everything that God said. Is that what you said? Hold on, say it again. I don't want to misquote you. Read.
Everything that God said you're supposed to do.
All right, what you say, Taryn? What you say God's righteousness is? Talk to me.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say, okay, if you don't know, you don't know, that's all right. I don't know is a great answer. I'm gonna tell you this. It's one thing our people gotta not have is pride to be like, just say stuff and we know we don't know. Just say I don't know, that's good. I don't know anybody trying to teach you can work with you then. Because you agreeing that you don't know, now we can teach. So now, go to Deuteronomy 6:25, you got me? Then we're gonna show you according to the Bible what God's righteousness is and how he feel about our righteousness. Get that our righteousness next, all right? You know what I want? Read what God's righteousness is.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments.
So God said, it's going to be your righteousness if you observe to do all these commandments. All God's commandments is the righteousness. Yeah, bro, come here. You in the sun, bro. I know it's baking out there. I got you. But it said, look, we're going to observe. If we observe to do all God's commandments, then that's going to be righteousness. Read it again.
And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he have commanded us.
So now, that's righteousness. But our people don't know God's righteousness. So what's some of God's commandments? You see why I said they should not kill. That's a commandment. That's part of God's righteousness. No stealing. That's part of God's righteousness. So look, all right, let's deal with stealing and killing then. Stealing and killing. Is it stealing and killing prevalent in Memphis, Tennessee? In the world. But we talking about Memphis right now, because we in Memphis. We standing in Memphis, right? Memphis, big Memphis.
Murder one capital.
So if God's righteousness ruling and prevalent in Memphis, Tennessee, bro? No. So our people, they'll say, everybody will say, even the killer be like, I love God. But they are ignorant of God's righteousness. You see that? They'll say that they got a zeal of God, but they don't know what God's righteousness is. And then it said, go back to Romans 10. They go about to establish their own righteousness. So our people be like, look, the same dude that go out there murking everything on the street, or show up in Sunday church and get money in the tithe basket and be like, all his dope money that he, you know what I'm saying, and be like, well, man, I gave back. God cool with me now. That's not God's righteousness. You see what I'm saying? That's the ignorance of our people. Meaning you don't know. So we go about to try to do our own thing. What God say about our righteousness?
The book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 3. For they being ignorant of God's righteousness, they going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God.
You see that it said they haven't submitted themselves to righteousness of God. So thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. Our people ain't submitted themselves, meaning come under that righteousness. We going to do our own thing. Well, let's see what God feels. Isaiah what? 64 and what? 64 and 6. Read that. Where did little sister go? All right, read what you got. Isaiah 64 and 6. Now listen, you know, you was here when we were talking to the little sister looked like a boy, right? Wow, we was doing it because we want our sister to be saved. But going that way, the way she thought was good, was right. Read what you got.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 64 and verse 6. But we are all as unclean thing, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags.
God said all our righteousness, the righteousness that we try to make up for ourselves, is like filthy rags. Now, that ain't just like a motor oil rag he talking about. A filthy rag is like, I was finna ask that sister, she dressed like a boy, but she got a menstrual every month. She come on a period and bleed every month, whether she want to look like a boy or not. That's the rag he talking about. Like a bloody rag that come from your vagina. That's why God say your righteousness is to me. It's not righteous at all. It's filthy. It's filthy. So we got to try to come under what God's righteousness is. That's his law, statutes, and commandments. Because I asked y'all earlier, right? I asked the older gentleman here with the kente cloth stuff on. Said, if you got a woman that don't listen to you, don't do nothing you say, she don't really love you. Even though she might be saying, I love you with your mouth. You can't say you love a woman every day and whoop her ass every day. Now, can't you? But you like, but baby, I love you. Smack. Make sure that chicken ain't cold. That ain't the type of love. That ain't love then. Let's show you what love is according to God then. Give me 1 John 5 and 3. Because this is what we're showing. His righteousness and love in God is the same thing. I'm going to show you. Because earlier we read Deuteronomy 6:25 said, it's our righteousness if we observe to do the commandments. Listen to what God say the love is then. Read.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
Read 2 and 6. 2 John 2 and 6. He said, the love of God is to do what? To keep his commandments. So you can't say we love God and don't do nothing he say. When you say God, you say the Lord's Prayer. Anybody know the Lord's Prayer? You start off and say what? Our Father, who art in heaven. All right, Pops, I love you, Pops, but I don't do nothing you say. I ain't trying to hear that. Get out my face is what Pop's gonna tell you, right? I ain't trying to hear you. Don't do nothing I tell you to do. Boy, I told you clean up the room. I told you cut the grass. I told you do this and that. You don't do nothing I tell you. Don't talk about how you love me. That's how God feels. Read it again. 1 John 2 and 6. Read.
2 John 2 and 6.
This is a different scripture. They're gonna watch this. What it say?
2 John 6. And this is love,
This is love,
that we walk after his commandments.
that we do his commandments. Guess how God feels. So now, when we look at the condition that we in as black people, look at the city, look at how dirty it is. Look at all the crime, look at all the hatred, look at all the murder, look at all the killing. Why God letting it go on? Shouldn't it, why we thinking, why God don't bless us? Are we doing what God tell us to do? You would think your father would be blessing you. He loves your kids, right? Why is he blessing his children? They not doing nothing he told them to do. Straight up. Straight up. Look, matter of fact, let me show you that. Give me that Amos. Amos 3. Watch this. Listen to how God feel about the children of Israel. These his children. This is us. This is who we are. And I'm gonna show you that God treat us like his sons. He treat us like his sons. We his kids. So you got kids, bro. All right, so you got kids. They got partners and friends and stuff they run around with. Now, I'm gonna ask you this question. You got no kids. I'm gonna ask you this question. Your children, you give your kids certain rules and regulations to follow by. They run around with their little friends though. But you done told them, the next block over, I don't want you going over there. Alright? If too much stuff going on over there, I can't see you over there, don't go over there. But then they run over there with their friends, they ain't come back. When you come back and find out they was over there, who get the ass whooped amongst the group?
You gonna whoop your kid.
Your kid. Alright, read what you got.
The book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord have spoken against you, O children of Israel.
So listen to what God is speaking against the children of Israel.
Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known.
So God said, you only have I known. So he excluding other people on the earth right there. Everybody can't be his chosen. You chose to put them J's on that morning. You probably got another pair of shoes in the closet somewhere, but you chose them. You chose them. You got other stuff, but you chose, so everything ain't chosen, right? He said, you only have I known
of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Now, do the white man kill and steal? Do the Chinese man kill and steal and rob? Do the other nations on the earth, these East Indians, these Arabs, they do all the stuff against God. But why y'all get punished? Why you in the lowest condition on earth? Because God said, you only have I known. Therefore, I will what?
I will punish you for all your iniquities.
I will punish you for all your sins. Because what sin? People say, it's a lot of sinning in the world, right? What is sin? 1 John 3 and 4. I'm finna give y'all the definition. I'm finna make it make sense to why we is how we are today. And now I'm gonna show you how to get out of it. Because we God's kids, we gotta start listening to our Father who art in heaven to know his righteousness. Watch.
It's the book of 1 John, chapter 3 and verse 4.
The reason I'm going here is to show you what sin is. Hey, brother, chill out. What sin is, this is what sin is. Because when a pastor say people are in sin, this is what they saying. But I'm gonna show you the contradiction after I read you this. Because they'll tell you, a pastor in a Christian church today that preach on Sundays, they tell you our people need to get out of sin. Won't they say that? But watch this.
1 John chapter 3 and verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin, transgressive also the law.
And read it again and read it slow, break it down, make sure they hear it clearly, all right?
Whosoever committeth sin.
Whosoever commits sin,
transgressive,
meaning to break,
also the law.
read.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
Sin is the breaking of God's laws. But won't a Christian church tell you God's laws done away with? Can't nobody keep all them laws, them commandments. Hey, you heard that? You done heard that.
They've been breaking the law.
So that's a contradiction now, ain't it? That ain't what the Bible said. The Bible said you got to keep God's laws to be righteous. The pastors say, you ain't nobody do all that. The Bible don't say that. God said, keep my commandments if you love me, right? It's my righteousness is to keep my commandments. They'll tell you the law's done away with, but then they'll tell you to get out of sin. How that make sense? The math ain't mathing. Make it make sense. These pastors ain't set up to teach you the correct way. So let me show you something. What day churches be open? Sunday. And right. Wednesday Bible study. Young brother just went over the Sabbath day earlier, right? And went over the days of the week. Every calendar of the week start with an S and end with an S. Start Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You count 7, you count 7, I count 7. So, why the church is open on the first day of the week? When the Bible say this, hold on, Terry, you wasn't here for this. Give me Exodus 20 and verse 8, because we got to know God's commandments if we want to be righteous and we want to do what our Father said, right? Listen to this. And I'm going to ask you again, think to yourself why God pissed off at us and why we stay in the bottom after we read this. Because every church building is going to be open tomorrow. Booming too, making plenty of money off of the poor people that coming in there. Watch this.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
So let's think about this. God said, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Keep it holy meaning separate from different days. Make this a special day. Keep it holy meaning rules and regulations on how you supposed to keep this day holy. The Sabbath day. He said 6 days you got to do all your labor and all your work. So what's the first day of the week? Huh? Oh, see how? You see how he said Monday right out of his mouth just that fast. Why? Because you've been conditioned that way because we've been being taught wrong. But we can look at the calendar and see Sunday is the first day. So Sunday, let's count from Sunday. We're going to count 6 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got 6 days to do all our work and all our labor. What the Bible said. Read it again.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day.
But the what day?
7th day.
The 7th day
is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
So you mean to tell me these pastors been preaching for 20, 30, 40 years ain't figured out the 7th day? But they got a Bible in their church? Are they teaching you the righteousness of God? The 7th day is the Sabbath. So what's the 7th day? Today. There you go. Good. Saturday. See how simple that is? But what a lot of people confused? Because what they doing then? How are they in the church on the first day and forgot about this day then? You know what happened? Jeremiah 17 and 5. This is what happened. God already told us we got to get into this thing ourselves and start to trust our own eyes, read, and then go to the men that's going to teach you according to this, not according to what they've been taught. Traditions. Read.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. And verse 5. Verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man.
Everybody that's in the church tomorrow, what's wrong with them then? Who they trusted? What black folks say? Pastor said, the Bible ain't say that damn time. But pastor said, and they in church on the first day of the week and forgot about this. Now listen to what Christ said about people like that. Give me Mark 7 and verse 6. Listen to this. I'm showing y'all the miseducation that's happened to us as a people and the reason why we stay at the bottom. Because God saying, look, y'all smart enough to read and write now. It ain't like they killing you no more in slavery for reading and writing. But y'all don't pick this Bible up and see the simple thing that's in it to learn how to get me off your ass. Read.
The book of Mark, to this 7 and verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well have Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites.
Hold on. Well has Isaiah prophesied. He talking to the children of Israel. He said, Isaiah did good prophesying against you. What do he call them?
You hypocrites, as it is written, this people honor of me with their lips.
They honor God with their lips. Oh, I love you, God. See how making a circle, we come together. I love you, God. I love you, God. Jesus is my Lord. All that, we say that.
But their heart is far from me.
But our minds, our heart truly is far from God, because we don't establish his righteousness. But now, read on.
Howbeit in vain do they worship me.
So he said, howbeit in vain meaning something that ain't gonna profit them, they worship me. Sunday service ain't gonna profit you. Our people been going to churches, right, filling them up for years. Why the black community is still the way it is? How many churches in Memphis, Tennessee? It's more churches per capita in Memphis, Tennessee than anywhere in the United States. But why Memphis still the murder capital then? Why it ain't changed nothing in the community? Because he said, in vain you worship me, because this is what you do, read.
Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men, for laying aside the commandment of God.
Slow that part down, brother. For what?
For laying aside the commandment of God.
Today is the Sabbath day. The seventh day. He said, in vain you worship me, because you laid aside the commandment of God.
Ye hold the tradition of men as the wash.
We hold up the tradition of men. Sunday service is a tradition of man. That ain't of God. The Bible, the law, the commandment is remember the Sabbath is the seventh day. So you see how many of our people have been deceived? Give me Colossians 2:8. These are things we got to understand. Do you see these men in purple and gold? We the ones that teach God's commandments. We showing our people how to get out of conditions that we in, how God said it. Because the way we got put in these conditions is breaking God's commandments. I'm going to go through that in a second. Read.
It's the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware.
Hold on. How? What?
Beware.
That's a warning, right? Beware.
Lest any man spoil you.
Spoiling is being destroyed. Read.
Through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men.
Don't let nobody spoil you or destroy you by the traditions of men.
After the rudiments of the world.
Stuff that came out of the world.
And not after Christ.
But this stuff ain't after Christ. It ain't after God. Sunday service. Christmas. Is Christmas a good thing our people should be doing? People say they celebrate what on Christmas? Talk to me, Terrence.
The birth of Christ.
All right. So they say the birth of Christ is on Christmas. Give me Jeremiah 10. This is our, look, they said it. Have you ever read that in the Bible? What about you? You ever read that in the Bible? Birth of Christ is December 25th. And to celebrate it by putting a tree up and decorating the tree, putting gold and silver tinsel and stuff on it and putting gifts up on it. That's how we do it. That's how it's done, right? Read this.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1.
Now we in the Bible, the Holy Bible.
Hear ye the word of the Lord, which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
You see how the Lord always talking to the house of Israel? This is what he's telling them to do. This is the instruction from God.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
He said, learn not the ways of the heathen. Heathen means other nations outside of the children of Israel. Outside of these people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the people of the diaspora. That's the slave trade. Any people out of that don't learn their ways, the traditions that come from them. Listen.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
At the signs of heaven, he said, don't be dismayed. Like other nations of people worship the suns, moon, and stars and all that other stuff. Terrence, come here, check this out. You need to hear this because I asked you this question about criminal, right? Listen, he said, that's the stuff that they base their religions and stuff off of. The signs of the heavens, the sun, moon, stars, all the other stuff. These other nations. Read.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Listen.
For the custom of the people are vain.
So we finna read the customs of these heathen people. One of the vain or traditions that don't do us no good. Read.
For one cut up a tree out of the forest.
So the heathen people will go cut a tree out the forest. Listen.
The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
Read.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
And they deck this tree with silver and gold. They start to decorate it. Read.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers.
And then they nail it down so it'll stand up. That's how they used to do it back in the day. What that sound like to you? Now, who go get a tree at the forest? What holiday or custom do people get a tree at the forest, deck it with silver and gold, and still stand it up in the house? That's an old custom, and it ain't come from God. That started in the ancient Babylonians. The ancient Assyrians, the ancient Egyptians all did that stuff. That didn't come from God. God said, what's the first thing he said? Learn not the way of the heathen. Those are other nations. We not the same as them. That's not something that God wanted us to do. That's in the Bible. Every pastor, now they have Christmas services and have trees in the churches. What did God say earlier? Cursed is every man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm. You made that pastor your strength and he leading you to the road of destruction. Give me Lamentations 2 and 14. We got to start coming back to this Bible as it is written, as what the words say. You see how easy we just uncovered a few lies to you right there. That the Sabbath day ain't the first day of the week. Christmas ain't of God, right there. What, Easter, Thanksgiving, all that stuff we don't find in the Bible, but it's plenty of commanded high holy days we supposed to keep this in the Bible that don't nobody know nothing about. You ever heard of the Feast of Tabernacles? You ever heard of the Feast of Dedication? You ever heard of the Passover? All of this in the Bible. God said you commanded to keep these days. But the people that took you off of slave ship, took your ancestors, taught them Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, taught us to celebrate birthdays, taught us to celebrate all this other stuff, and God is against it. Why'd they do that? To keep you in the condition that you're in. They know as long as we in sin, God won't be on our side. But when we start breaking that sin pattern and start doing what he said do, then he'll be our God again, our people again. He gonna fight for us. That's the issue. We gotta learn what this say. It's easy. We just open up Jeremiah chapter 10. Oh, wait a minute. God ain't with Christmas. That ain't cool. He said I don't like that. The Sabbath day is the seventh day. Everybody can count to 7. We've established our own righteousness. People say, no, Christmas good. That's Jesus' birthday. Then it's not Jesus' birthday. And it was never said to celebrate birthdays. Read what you got.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 14. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee.
So God telling you the condition of our people right now. He said the prophets, meaning the pastors of today, have seen vain, meaning stuff that don't help you or benefit you, and foolish things for you. Read.
And they have not discovered thine iniquity.
They haven't discovered or showed you the sin that you in.
To turn away thy captivity.
To turn away your captivity.
They get scared, they know that they lose. They about to lose. We got the truth to all this confusion. Now what is nation?
Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.